Are we live? Yes. We are live on channel 23. So if you want to let the folks at home know that you're on TV, please tell them. So good morning to everyone. It's always an honor to have all of you here in your house to present to us your policy position statements and policies that you like to see us work on. Before we move forward, I'd like to welcome all the DD Council and the voices of the CNMI. Thank you for being here. I'd like to recognize our Mayor, Mr. David Apatang, Chairwoman of the Saipan Municipal Council, Andy Castro, Chairman of the Rhoda Municipal Council, Mr. Atalig, Mrs. Susan Satur, and the Center of Living Independently. Yay! I see we have folks from the Scholarship Office, Ms. Pam Sablan and Ms. Lilian Adda, and all our stakeholders. It's always a pleasure to have you all here at your house. I'd like to introduce the members present here in the chamber. I am Speaker Edmund Villagomez, and to my left is Vice Speaker Blas Jonathan BJ Attau. To his left is Representative John Paul Sablan, and to his left is Representative Edwin Probst, and to his left is Representative Leila Staffler. And right across, welcome back, Leader Representative Ivan Blanco. We also have Representative Richard Lizama, Representative Vicente Camacho, Representative Joe Flores, and from Rhoda, Representative Donald Manglonia. Without further ado, you may please proceed with your presentation. Thank you and welcome.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Honorable Speaker Edmund Villagomez, Honorable Vice Speaker BJ Attau, and Honorable Representatives of the 22nd Commonwealth Legislature, and for those who are joining us via Zoom. I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Pam Sablan. I'm the Executive Director for the CNMI Council on Developmental Disabilities, and also want to recognize our partners and also the Voices members. So we have Ms. Sue Satur, as our speaker mentioned. She's the Executive Director for the Center for Living Independently. We have Mr. Mayor David Apatang, Mayor of Saipan. We have our CNMI USED partners here, the Interim Vice President, Ms. Charlotte Cepeda, and her staff. We have representatives from the Didi Network, NM Posse, Ms. Elsie Roberno, and partners. And we also have from the Office of Vocational Rehabilitation, the Director, Ms. Arlene Regis, and her staff. Ms. Mildred Camacho, who is the administrator for the CNMI Scholarship. Joining us from Tinian, Ms. Juanita Mendiola, the acting chairwoman for the 18th Tinian Municipal Council. We also have a representative from Rhoda, Mr. Jim Atalig, the chairman for the 18th Rhoda Municipal Council. Ms. Ana Castro, who is the chairwoman for the 16th Saipan and Northern Islands Municipal Council. Also, I would like to recognize our Voices officers for Saipan. We have the president, Ms. Dorison Titan Fung Wahid, Vice President Siobhan Castro, our Secretary Therese Ito, Treasurer Derek Tupas. For Tinian, our President Monica H. Diaz, who is joining us via Zoom. Our Vice President, Mr. Jan Barcinas, who also is on Zoom. Our Secretary, Mariana Cruz. Our Treasurer, Mr. Felipe Aquino Jr. in the back. From Rhoda, representing the Voices chapter, we have the Commissioner and President, Mr. Robert A. Mignola, who also is the DD Council Chairman. Our Vice President, Felix Ozoa Jr., Secretary Treasurer, Rosmina Hokuk-Pol, and the Board of Directors for the Voices is Mr. Robert Mendiola, Commissioner, Saipan President Dorison Wahid, Tinian President Monica Diaz. So I'd like to introduce and call upon our Voices members who are going to present their position statement on how we can improve these services and supports for individuals with developmental disabilities residing in the CNMI. Thank you for the opportunity. So we have Miss Alyssa Babalta. She is a Voices self-advocate from Saipan. Okay.
Position statement on a call for equal access and to improve opportunities to get quality services and support and action by all policymakers on behalf of individuals with intellectual and/or developmental disabilities. Since its founding in 2013, the Voice of the CNMI, Saipan, Tinian, and Rhoda chapters have advocated for more options for people with disabilities to access quality services and support, reach economic self-sufficiency, and experience fairness and inclusion in all areas of community life. When policies are passed that do not benefit individuals with disabilities and those in our community who are the most vulnerable, we have a shared responsibility to work to change those policies. The Voice of the CMI advocates for all policymakers at every level to review legislation, enactive laws, regulations, and guidance that will be carried out to make sure they do not purposely or by mistake hampers the individual with disabilities ability to reach their full potential nor negatively impact or sanction harm physical or emotional the individual or their families. The Voice of the CMI believes that all people deserve opportunities and equal access to inclusive programs and services.
Therefore, the Voices of the CNMI Tinian chapter has outlined our goals for Tinian, which are the following. For the Center for Living Independently, to advocate for the CNMI policymakers to support and fund the CLI's expansion to branch out to Tinian to allow individuals with disabilities to have access to their center. A replica of what is being done on Saipan will be followed on Tinian. To advocate for local funding to hire staff and operations for CLI Tinian. To create a partnership with the Tinian's Mayor's Office to utilize the accessible vehicle to allow individuals to come to the center and to also start planning so we can do a grant proposal for this building. To also have a disability one-stop center, which allows individuals with disabilities and family members to get resources, trainings, and also help expedite any urgent documents that are needed. And to connect and build relationships with the following offices to work for these individuals: Governor's Office, Mayor's Office, Social Security, Medicaid, Food Stamp, NMC, OBRD Council, and Policy, and the Tinian Health Center. For education and transition, the Voice of the CNMI Tinian chapter has provided input to the DD Council regarding working with the Tinian Municipal Scholarship Program to include in their policy financial aid for part-time students with disabilities. Accessibility, to work closely with DPW, Finance, and Commerce to ensure all businesses, public areas are fully accessible and have a sign for accommodations if needed. To update ADA parking signs, to replace the word handicap with accessible parking. To create a guideline for accessibility. It's similar to the health guidelines that we have at the restaurants where you see A, B, and C or D. We wanted to do one stating that, but with accessibility for accommodations. And then continue to educate policymakers regarding accessibility or access to the beach or recreational sites, and to send follow-up letters. And then just to work closely with OVR and MIA for transition for individuals with disability. Therefore, sorry, I went over.
Thank you, Monica. We're going to have Felipe read the accessibility piece. He's also going to present that as well.
Sorry about that.
Accessibility, working closely with DPW, finance, and comments to ensure all businesses, public areas are fully accessible or have sign of accommodations if needed. Can you hear me? Update all ADA parking signs to replace the word handicapped with accessible parking. Create a guideline for a rating for accessibility. For example, use something similar to the health inspection rating. Continue to educate policymakers regarding accessibility or access at beach or recreational sites. Send letters to follow up. Post-secondary transition. Work closely with OVR, WIA. Transportation, housing.
Before we proceed, I would like to also recognize members in the chamber, Representative Joel Camacho and Representative Denita Yangtamay. Also on Zoom, we have Representative Sheila Babauta and Representative Tina Sablan. Thank you.
Therefore, the Voices of CNMI Rota chapter have outlined our goals for Rota, which are the following: work with public and private entities to ensure the public right-of-way, government programs, and private businesses are accessible to the community. Educate public and private entities on the use of person's first language. Advocate that the public transportation system on Rota receives annual financial assistance that is appropriate by the CNMI legislature to effectively operate the transit system. Center for Living Independently. Advocate for the establishment of a satellite location of the Center for Living Independently for Rota. Advocate for local funding to hire staff for operations for CLI Road. Thank you.
Okay. Therefore, the voice. Therefore, the Voices of the CNMI Saipan chapter have outlined our goals for Saipan, which are the following: Center for Living Independently to advocate for local funding to build the capacity of CLI on Saipan and to establish satellite location on Tinian and Rota, to advocate for local funding to support the operations of this CLI program, as well as the planned expansion at Governmental Building 1365. Following local funding is needed for CLI to hire more staff, pay for quota, transportation costs for consumers, pay for utilities and communication, to purchase equipment and furniture for a new expansion at Government Building 1365, pay for basic operations for the program, for CNMI, to advocate for an accessible CNMI, thus to make government agencies, programs, and private businesses are accessible to all people with different abilities, to offer tax credit for business who hire qualified individuals with disability. This will expand more job opportunities for individuals with disability.
We, the voices of the CNMI, also advocate the following. There be no discrimination on the basis of race, religion, gender, national origin, language, accent, sexual orientation, or disability. All programs respect and support people with developmental disabilities, cultural traditions, including supporting the rightfulness of individual home, language, and all people with developmental disabilities have the important right to be safe and secure with their families in their homes, their community, and the setting or environment of their choice. Law and order can and must exist with respect for diversity and inclusion. The public policies we create and the practices we use can have lifelong effects for people with developmental disabilities, their families, and society. These values must be at the front of consideration of any public policy for its development through its implementation.
Thank you, Voices members, for providing your position statements. All three chapters, Saipan, Tinian, and Rhoda, have shared with you their goals, working closely with the CNMI policymakers, municipal councils of Tinian and Rhoda, as well as Saipan. So we would like to welcome Ms. Susan Sator, the director for the Center for Living Independently. She has a presentation.
I'm a nervous wreck, okay? Just to let it be known. So as you see on the screen, we are out in the community. We have currently 137 individuals that come to the center or that are being served with that have disabilities. We recently received a CDBG-DR grant for the food pantry. We are currently 600 individuals with disabilities in the community that will receive hopefully $100 worth of food. It's depending on what other services they receive. We're out into the community. We did the celebrity bagging. We're doing all different kinds of activities in the community itself. At the center, this is us again. We're at half a day. Now this is at the center, the next slide. At the center, next slide. At the center, well, here we go. Now we're at the center. Okay. So at the center, we do all different kinds of activities. We have, here we're doing a presentation, learning activity for different activities that are happening within the community. We have a garden. Hopefully that's the next slide. If it's not, it will be. Oh, okay. This is us again. What we have to do is, because we have so many coming to the center now, we have to break it up into days. So we have a Monday, Wednesday group and a Tuesday, Thursday group. So, and we have team leaders in each group that get a small stipend to help us teach these individuals how to do these activities at the center. From how to clean your windows. The goal is to help them be independent as possible. So we do, we're cleaning the windows, we're cleaning the inside of the building, we're doing activities outside. We have a sustainable garden, which is on the next couple of slides. This is us again. We're still working in the center, doing all different kinds of activities. So we have a sustainable garden. With this garden, we grow concun, sweet potatoes, taro, yam. You can go ahead to the next slide. This is in the center again. We're doing all different kinds of, here we are. making tortillas. We're doing local. We have a program where we learn how to cook foods from different cultures. And this particular day, we're making local food. And we had someone coming in doing tortillas. And we got donations from different individuals for each consumer to have a mask and hand sanitizers and those kinds of things. Get to my garden. That's my favorite part. Okay, go on to the next slide. So, here we are on Tinian. We also go down to Tinian to serve the communities on Tinian. We're doing presentation, outreach, advocacy. Our goal is to have everyone be able to advocate for themselves. They won't need us, but we're behind the scenes pushing them on what they need to do. And this is us on Tinian doing that presentation. The next one will be on Rhoda. We do the same thing on Rhoda. We also go into the high schools in Rhoda and train the juniors and the seniors on advocacy skills, on pre-employment skills. Okay, now we're where I want to be. This is our garden. You know, for someone to be able to say that I grew what I'm eating, it's a really cool thing. So we have sweet potato, taro, yam, kangkung, and then we have all different kinds of herbs. What I was telling you before is that each week is a different culture we're learning about. So this, let's say this week will be Mexican or American Mexican. So we learn all about the Mexican culture, the Spanish culture, and then we prepare the food from that culture using the herbs from our garden that we're using, or the things from our own garden to prepare these meals. The next week will be Chamorro. The next week will be different. Every week is different. And we're using our garden to do that. And if you ever come to the center, you're going to see a lot of consumers out in the garden because it gives them, even me, I love it. It gives me a self-worth. It gives me a sense that, I grew this from nothing. Most of them are from seeds from our own, like the kangkung we got is from our own kangkung that we just reproduce. We have green onions, chives, sweet potatoes, everything in that garden. The next page. There we are again, out there having fun. It's a really an enjoyable event. So in our community, it's really difficult. We receive $110,000 from the feds. That's all I have to operate on. And we're trying to get the building next door. We don't have the funding for this. And as you can see in our community, we're reaching out to different islands, to Saipan as well. And we're trying to advocate for everyone who has a disability. And they're coming to the center and we're busting at the seams. We have too many coming, but I'm never going to turn anybody away because you have a disability. I want you there. I want to help you. We have 55 that are homebound. You can go ahead and turn that. We have 55 that are homebound, 45 that actually come to the center. And then we have Tinian and Rhoda as well that we're not. I feel like I'm neglecting Tinian and Rhoda, to be honest with you, because I can only get down there once a month to help them and doing pre-employment training and activities like that. I want to do this for Tinian and Rhoda. I can't even do this for Saipan right now. I'm busting at the seams. I need help. And I'm asking, please, we wrote several different grants. Please think of us when you come to the SNILE for the Saipan, and think of the art for the Tinian and Rhoda and the extra building. We serve we do so many different things at the center. We do arts and crafts. We have a garden, like I said. We do household management, shopping, transportation, interpersonal relationships, yard maintenance. We have some that want to it's based on their goal. So like we have one consumer, his goal is he wants to have a yard cleaning business. So we're teaching him how to run the lawnmower, how to do bush cutting, how to be able to run that type of business. And we're teaching management skills, money management skills. We have another one who would like to have his own car wash. So we're teaching him how to clean the car, how to, if he were to get the business, how to run that particular business. We also, for the homebound, we do their Medicaid, we do their Social Security, we do the advocacy. We're the voice for them. In conclusion, I know I've jumped everywhere. I'm like that way. But I would like to thank you all for sitting here and listening to me, and please help us and help the community. It's not just Susan Satur, it's the whole community here. And just to let you know, today's group that's here from the center is only our Tuesday, Thursday group. We have a Monday, Wednesday group that's just as big, and they're not here today because we can't accommodate all of them. So think of us. Thank you.
Thank you, Sue. I would like to invite our self-advocates, our partners, if they would like to make comments. I believe Monica Diaz is going to start off, and whoever else can follow. Monica?
Hi, it's Monica. I'm calling from Oregon. I just want to say thank you for being here today, and most especially to our continuing rep. Thank you for being here. It really means a lot that someone is there to listen to our concerns and our voice. So we just wanted to ensure that for Tinian we do get the right amount of funding and help for our COVID van. We are very grateful that after so many years we finally have one, and we wanted to thank you guys for helping us out and pushing it through. But we want to also make sure and to ensure that it does go for a long time, and hoping that we can get more support for this van and to actually get it up and running. So we're just grateful that we're able to have that. That's all.
Thank you, Monica. And we have some partners that would like to, family member that would like to provide his input. Yes, please.
Good morning. My name is Felipe Aquino from Tinian. My son Felipe here is also part of the CNMI Voices in Tinian. He's also a disability. Monica say a lot, and who else? Sue. But please, for Rhoda and Tinian, we really guys need your help. We have a Center for Independent Living because if you guys were down in Tinian for any reasons, try visiting some of their parents and see the burden that they're having at your house. And because when I come to Saipan and I visit them with my son, I see these kids how happy they are when they're away from home. They mingle with their friends, and somewhere where they can go and spend time, where they have confidence to talk to somebody else too. See, because when they stay home at 24/7 at home, it's totally different from coming to a group of people and expressing themselves. And like Sue said, when I look up the garden, the cooking and everything, like cleaning, and some of them get ideas of what they want to do in their future, right? So we please ask you for help. And if there's any local funds that you can have Center for Living for Tinian and Rhoda, we really appreciate that help if you guys can do that for us. Because this is the only way, because as my son, the reason that we left Tinian because we don't have the facility to see what's within him. And when we went to Oregon and we go to the hospital, that's when we find out that he has an Asperger. And from there, we asked, how are we going to deal with this kind of thing? I cannot say sickness or what, but we learn a lot. So some of the other kids are more, how you call that, more sincere at their disability, and some are mild. But to make it short, this presentation, please do not forget, and hopefully we'll be reading in the news or hear something in that something has been done. Not just today, but looking at by tomorrow again. Thank you.
Uh, Hello, can everybody hear me?
Yes, John, we can hear you.
Hi, my name is Jan Christopher Bersinas. I'm the son of the Marianas. Yeah, I was born and raised in Tinian. At the same time, I'm here in Oregon right now, focusing on my studies. I just want to have a lot of issue going on for the Marianas. My first issue is like not only people with disability, young, but most exactly people with disability who's getting older, like in the age of 70, 60s, and like that. How can we give them more like I'm asking the people, the legislature, the Senate, to help find a way to a facility done for people who suffering from dementia, Alzheimer's, different kind of disability that comes from old age. Our manuncles are people with are elderly are their number one priority. As an advocate, I'm advocating for people with disability and elder people because I'm asking for them to to be checked. I mean, to have a special doctor for them. I'm asking if you guys can find a way to have a center for them, a funding for them that they can be checked checked most of the time, and most of the time be there for somebody like have a counselor or a psychology and behavior specialist for them to know what's their disability. Because with people dementia, they don't really like know what's going on with them, and I'm just trying to find ways that I can go to help my dad or a family member who's going through a same situation I'm going through, dementia and Alzheimer's. So yeah, I'm trying. I'm only my main concern is to find these people help and get them to the right path, not just leave them in limbo. You know what I mean? Thank you.
Of a day and tiro to all of you honorable leaders. I'm here on behalf of Steven Sablon, and he has a few questions to you guys. He's asking, would it be possible to create a line for the disabilities at the bank and post office? Why does Bureau of Motor Vehicle require yearly doctor visit for a plat card renewal? And would it be possible to issue an identification card to disability persons? I ask of these concerns because I am unable to walk due to my weight issue caused by minor Ponder-Willi syndrome and cerebral palsy, contribution of an even ankle. I can only wear slight slippers. And that's Mr. Steven Sablon. Thank you.
Yes, good. Uh,
Your name, who are you?
I'm Jesse Tergezo. Thank you for coming. Um,
Yeah, no, you can just say how you feel about this.
oh, I've
You can do this. You're good.
sorry. I'm like, I've like I feel good like going to the center like every Tuesday and Thursday, and I see like of like the staff. I know they're kind of struggle. I cannot help them also. So yeah, and
No, you say thank you.
thank you.
Before we move forward, I'd like to also recognize the presence of Representative Angel Demapan and also online Representative Roy Adda.
Hello, everyone. My name is Frederick Chanby Sacramento, and I'm here for my speech. My thoughts about the problem in the CNMI is the lack of competition, and we are the way behind on some countries that is developing better ways of living with people with disabilities, and we need to do something about getting ahead of competition. And by doing so, we need to improve our businesses, improve infrastructures, improve our education by accommodating people with disability. More people who came siphoned by diversity, immigrants and non-immigrants. We, we wanted to address the legislation because for the longest time, we've been asking for help for the people with a disability. Education is a hot topic for students who are failing in every class and other SPED students who can't advocate for themselves or stand up for their own. And this needs to address to not just only for the schools but to the public school system because due to teachers not knowing their disability but also their classmates and more that is they need for the students is to get a passion they need of what they want to be, not just a cliche of what do I want to be, more like what do I want to get successful. And those are the addresses I want to talk about. Thank you very much.
I'd like to invite any of our partners that would like to provide their comments.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning, leaders. Thank you so much for giving us the opportunity to be here today to address some of the concerns that we have in regards to providing services for people with disabilities. Before I start, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Arlene Regis. I'm the current director for OVR. I have with me one of our counselors, Ms. Shauna Iguel.
Morning.
I'm also a little bit nervous, so please bear with me. I'm not good at public speaking. I'm getting there. Before I begin, I would like to thank all of our DMP partners, Monica Diaz, Mr. Felipe Aquino Jr. and Sr., for addressing their concerns because we resonate with that, as well as with Sue's concerns about having more presence in Rhoda and Tinian, because we too at OVR, we would love to be there indirect with our people with disabilities there to help them because we do go out there, we do our outreaches, but I don't think that we're doing enough. Part of the reason is because of funding. So that's one of our biggest concerns at OVR. Right now, we are 100% federally funded. We only got $1 from our local fund, local match for the past 2 years. So that poses a challenge when we want to do more outreach. We want to serve our people with disabilities in Tinian and Rhoda because we're limited. We've addressed that in our meetings or our hearing early, was it May, when we met with the CNMI Legislature Foreign Affairs Committee. Before I proceed, now that I had mentioned regarding the federal funding, one of the things that we often do with our DMP partners is awareness. We do a lot of awareness, but what we need to do is acceptance. We need to accept. I think the beginning of acceptance is really allowing our people with disabilities more opportunities for work or job placement. That is where OVR comes. That's our responsibility, is to provide job opportunities for our people with disabilities. But the challenge that we face with that is not everybody. We need more collaboration. We need more partnerships. We need to work with more government agencies, more private sectors. And we are out there doing presentations, business engagements, to talk about the services that OVR provides, because we do provide a lot of services to provide employment for our consumers. We are serving a total amount of 273 consumers. And out of that, we currently have, and let me get my data. I would say we have 61 consumers in training and 26 in employment. And we do have, I believe, 18 more or 12 to 18 more that are ready for employment. And so when we are out there talking about the services that we provide for for government agencies or employers, um, we are seeing challenges in which they're kind of hesitant to hire people with disabilities. And that's probably because of the lack of information that they have, the lack of awareness that they have about the benefits of them hiring people with disabilities. The other thing too is that a lot of our business places here in the CNMI are accessible. They are complying with the ADA parking rules and regulations, but in the inside they're not. So it kind of limits their accessibility from the inside. They're only accessible from the outside. But when you walk in, it's there's no accessibility. That's one of the challenges that we see as well. We hope that with your help and with our presentation today, we could work together to make those changes and assist our consumers to be able to be out. And one of the things that was brought up earlier was parking accessibility. It would be wonderful if one day the CNMI can have an accessible recreational park for people with disabilities to go to, because I think it's really important for them to have that. Being out and about, they're not able to function like we do. But if we do have that accessible parking for them, that would really make a difference, just like how Auntie Sue does. Susan Satur does her program at CLI. When you go there, when you pay a visit, you can really see how happy the consumers are there and how engaging and all of the activities that they do day in and day out. That's what most of our consumers need in Tinian and Rhoda as well. So we really do need more funding to be able to allow us to do those for people with disability out there. So I'm really encouraging, really asking for assistance in providing funding for us to be able to have a program or an office out there to be able to work directly in person with them, so that we don't go out there just once a month, but we're actually there in their presence. Um, I apologize, going through my list. I believe that I covered a lot of the things that I wanted to address, most importantly, to this panel. And I hope that after today, we can continue to work together, to work in making sure that we're not just doing awareness for people with disabilities, but are actually um, accepting and giving them more opportunities, because they do have special talents. They do have special skills that the only way for them to, the only way for us to give them the opportunity is to be open to that. And it starts with acceptance and not just, awareness. So that is all I have for myself. I will have Ms. Shauna, our counselor, address a few more concerns. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here. Thank you for having us here. Some of the issues that our agency faces with helping our consumers, people with disability, is our vendors here on island, and providing the services for our consumers. Since the pandemic has happened, a lot of our consumers aren't able to go off island because of the COVID-19 procedures, and not only that, they're also in fear of their health concerns. And also, if it's not the consumers not wanting to go off island, it's also the vendors not being able to come to our island. So that's one of our issues. And then another thing is just businesses not wanting to engage with us, with our agency, because of the fact that the process that it takes for them to receive the payment if there's reimbursements. So, we have such as our CNMI audiologist. She's providing hearing aids to our consumers, but she's having to pay out of pocket until she receives her reimbursement. So these are just some of the challenges that we face as an agency. Is some of the businesses is, they're not getting paid on time, so they refuse to provide services to our agency. And then also is just job placement. So we really want to reach out to federal, private, and government sectors to see if they can, open their doors and hire our consumers, provide them the training that they want. Because our consumers, I truly believe they can do anything. We just have to be patient with them. We look at them as a person and not their disability. They can get things done just in a different way. And with us, with our agency, we are partnering up with NMPOSSE to provide etiquette training for our employers. So these are just some of the concerns that our agency as an OVR faces. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I'm sure many of you have already known who I am, or you've heard of me, so I don't really need to introduce myself that much. My name is Juanita Mendiola from Tinian. I'm surrounded with people with disabilities, and I see the challenges in their lives. And it really breaks my heart, especially this one girl whose parents are quite unable to really assist her because there isn't enough training for the parents to deal with such a disability. I myself is a candidate for disability life because of neuropathy that I am developing from diabetes. Many of us will be facing that as we get older in life. And I really, I want to bring in the word Gifinut Samoro inagofli. Ina za ungofli izotta vulnerabilities and izotta weaknesses that tatsuli masel hafan hinasu sinentis and sinegui ni para ta prepara hit za ta assisti todo dusti siya toto taimano ni sinya maakudin maisa siya not 100% but at least guahanu inabamsagin nila niya to improve their quality of life. I apologize for being emotional because this little girl, or she's not so little anymore, but she's very close to me. And even me, I find myself unable to support her in many ways because I'm inept. I don't know how to deal with such a disability. So the training and the reaching out should include parents, families, neighbors, so that they can understand what they're facing and we're all able to lend a hand when we are needed. So dealing with disabilities is not going to be an easy task. That's going to be something that is going to be, always be with us ahead, because as a group of people, we are unfortunately candidates for a lot of disabilities because we are ranked one of the highest group of people having diabetes, and you do develop a disability from such a disease. So I beg all of you to work with us. I'm part of the leadership, but I also feel quite inept to do anything because of the lack of resources, but it doesn't stop there. Let's work together to look for the kind of resources that are necessary to move us forward towards to achieving the quality of life that we want to see for our disabled community. Thank you very much.
Hi guys, my name is Alex Ganaro. I just wanna thanks to Independent Living Center for helping me learn something that I haven't learned throughout my year. They helped me a lot with um, being independent and so much as helping one another. I really thank Susan for all the help that when I was in her time. And I thank you so much for having me.
Hi, good morning, everyone. My name is Elsie Tilipal. I'm one of the program managers at NM and part of we administer 9 programs under our agency. We are a nonprofit agency, and so we provide legal advocacy services to people with disabilities. We are mandated under our program to also provide systemic advocacy changes. And so I'm here to ask, and what is systemic advocacy changes? It's concerted actions to promote and effectuate changes in the policies, rules, and laws that impact groups of people with disabilities, and to remove the barriers that prevent or impede them from leading full, productive lives in the community. Systems advocacy typically addresses the establishment, support, improvement, or expansion of one, programs that provide services or benefits to persons with disabilities, and 2, the legal rights, protection, and entitlements of persons with disabilities, and may involve oppositions or efforts to weaken, reduce, or eliminate existing services or rights. So if you have, if you're considering to author a bill or have a bill in front of you that will potentially affect the lives of people with disabilities, all I ask is you bring the disability network partners to your table. Most importantly, people with disabilities, because who else knows what will affect them in the future, but because of the fact that they live with a disability day in and day out of their lives. Thank you.
Do you have anyone else who would like to provide any comments before we close? Okay, we have a representative from Rhoda.
Good morning, everyone. And I want to thank the DD Council for having me here on behalf of the mayor. I wanted to ask the members because right now, just to fly from Rhoda to Saipan is about $270, and from Tinian to, you guys heard the news that they raised up their price. So I please ask you guys to assist the program as far as the airfare. Just to see a specialist in Saipan is too expensive. So I ask to please support the program. Thank you.
So I'd like to thank everyone that provided their comments, and it's very important that our disability community provide their feedback regarding their experiences and how they are advocating for quality service, equal opportunity, and equal access. Those are the key words. So please keep in mind when you work on draft legislation, please bring our consumers, our self-advocates and advocates to the table because, they live this on a daily basis. We at the DD Council work closely with our self-advocates, so they have the leadership skills so they can get up here and speak regarding their experience. A lot, of emotion because they're dealing with this day in and day out. So thank you for the opportunity. We have a lot of input that was provided to us from Tinian, Rhoda, and Saipan on advocating to expand programs that actually provide a quality service. And we're looking forward to working closely with you, our CNMI policymakers, to improve these services through legislation, as well as funding these programs annually. I'd like to give out a special thanks to Ms. Kina Salas, who is under the Speaker's office, who also helped us coordinate this event. And we look to partner with our policymakers in a couple of weeks. We would like to introduce our self-advocates to their representatives, their senators, and also they learn about the legislative process, what goes into crafting a draft bill, and what are different committees, who sits on the different committees that represent. So this is one of our goals for the DD Council, to build self-advocacy capacity in the CNMI of our self-advocate leaders, is to work closely, because you can improve services through legislation. And that is one of the key areas that we are going to focus on for the next 5 years of our state plan. Thank you again for allowing us the opportunity, and to all our partners that came and supported us during this event. Thank you very much, and take care.
Want to do a photo op?
Yes, if possible, can we do a photo op? We have a large crowd outside, actually. We have our self-advocates outside that couldn't. Can we have the photo outside if we can? So we can have everybody in the photo. Thank you.
The presentation is done. Thank you. Have a good day.